today, and I would like to give a brief introduction about Lawchemy. Lawchemy is a platform basically, and we introduce and organize many webinars and many courses for the law students and young advocates as well. So today we have Sakshi ma'am with us as a host, and I would like to give a brief introduction about Sakshi ma'am as well. Sakshi ma'am is a distinguished advocate at Madhya Pradesh High Court and an assistant professor at ICFAI University, Dehradun, and she holds a BBA LLB degree from Amity University, and she has completed her LLM in International Trade and Investment from Gujarat Maritime University. So this was a brief introduction about ma'am. So after that, I would like to give a brief introduction about this boot camp. Sir, bootcamp is basically designed for those who want to build their career in corporate law and who want to build in future their career in corporate law as well. So what exactly corporate law is? Basically, about this information, the explanation about corporate law will be shared by Sakshi ma'am with us. So after that, I would like to give you the brief introduction about what exactly this boot camp will be going on. So join with us till the end of this boot camp, and in the end of the boot camp, you will get a Google form. So by filling that Google form, you will get the certificates as well. So stay tuned with us till the end. After that, I would like to request Sakshi ma'am to kindly guide us. Thank you.
Hello everyone, am I audible to you? Thank you everyone for joining. So I am Sakshi Kothari. Today we will be discussing about one of the fastest growing and the most rewarding career path about the corporate law. Right? Many of the students enter into a law school believing that
बंद करता पहले बंद करो
sorry, many of
उससे
the
दिलाएगी
students
अरे बंद करने के लिए
I would
काम कर
request
रहे हैं ना
everyone to kindly mute yourselves.
Good.
I hope I am audible.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Previously also I was audible, or right now I have been audible?
Yes, ma'am, now you are audible.
Okay. So I'm starting with the first slides. Thank you everyone for joining for the today's session. Today we will be going with the one of the fastest growing and the most rewarding career path for the law students relating to the corporate law. Now many of the students enter into law school believing that the litigation is only a successful career path. But however, the legal profession has been evolved in which today the requirement of the hiring a legal professionals in the multinational corporations, if I talk about the consulting firms, if I talk about the investment companies or any of the technology companies, they require a skilled legal professionals. So today, with the end of this session, we will be able to learn that what is corporate law, why the companies hire the lawyers, what are the career opportunities, and also what are the skills that you require and how you can begin this particular journey. Right. So today, with the end of the session, we'll be able to cover these all things. I hope the English medium would be good, or I should go with in bilingual mode. Moderator, you can let me know that I should go with in bilingual mode or English mode only. Okay. Most of the answers are English. Okay. So today the bootcamp has been designed because there is a significant gap between the law schools that they have been teaching, though what is the corporate legal industry that has been required. The students often learn in the law schools about the provisions, the theoretical knowledge they get to know, right? But in the practical life or in practical field, you will have to know about how you have to review the contracts, how you have to draft that particular agreements, how you have to conduct the due diligence, and how you have to interact with the clients. So these are the four main criteria that you have to learn about when you are entering into corporate law in the practical field. So the course is aiming to bridge the gap between the classroom learning to the practical learning. Though I would like to share one of my experience also. I also had a question about that. What should I go with the career choices during my law schools? So exposure during my internship, then I got to know that yes, this was the thing that I required, but that is not never taught in our law schools. So that is why the practical learning helps us to understand that how the corporate law differs from in classroom learning. So here today we will be getting to know about the structured career growth, what are the good remuneration skills or the schemes that you will able to avail it, what are the exposures to the business decisions, and what are the international opportunities that we will be learning about today. So firstly, we should always know what is in corporate law means. Though whenever after the 3 years of your course, you are always asked to choose a subject, that whether you have to choose a corporate law, whether you have to choose a company or any of a criminal law, right? After 3 years, you have to decide that whether you have to go in corporate law or in any of a criminal law field. So in the corporate law, the first thing that ever comes in your mind for any of a corporate lawyer would be a companies, contracts, and big salary or a handsome salary, the MNCs that they have been working about it. But the corporate law doesn't simply means that you are reading the laws. So the corporate lawyer is the one who is able to solve the business problems. Or if I talk about, like, suppose a Tata wants to acquire in another company, right? So for acquiring in another company, what does he need? He needs that the transaction that has been happening is to be done in a legal manner. The documents that have been drafted, that has to be done very superficiently, and regulatory approvals. The SEBI approvals have been done on the time or not. The securities that have been transferred from the one company to the another company. That also you have to look into. What are the risks that can be identified when you're acquiring any of another company, right? So these all are coming under the ambit of our company law. So a corporate lawyer means that you know a business law and you are able to solve every business problem that you talk about. Though if I talk about these startup companies, as in India, the startup is been growing at a large, right? So being a startup company has to raise a fund of rupees 20 crores, for example, right? So what as a lawyer you have to prepare? You have to prepare a shareholder agreement. You have to prepare an investment agreement for that particular company. You also have to draw back within board resolutions that you have to pass it on. So these are something that has been covered under the ambit of our corporate law. So the corporate law has been a combination of the law, finance, strategy, management, and negotiation. That is also mentioned in slides itself, as you can also read it. But unlike when we talk about with the part of a litigation, the much of the corporate practice has been in preventive measures. Why? Because instead of resolving the disputes that are often been occurred, corporate lawyers aim to prevent it through the proper legal planning. So that is one of an ambit that whenever we are talking within perspective in corporate lawyer, you also have to map out each and everything that what can be the strategy that we can acquire with the company's perspectives and what are the laws that we have to learn about. Now we are studying about what is in corporate law. The corporate law is defining the entire governance of a life in a company, right? It starts with an incorporation. It continues to the daily business operations. It also governs the mergers, acquisitions, restructuring, even the winding up also. You can switch up to the next slide also. Discussing about the major laws, like if I talk about the Companies Act 2013, which is one of the backbone of a company law in India, which is governing how the incorporation has been taking place, how the directors have been talking about, what are the rights and duties of the shareholders, how the meetings are to be conducted. There are three different types of the meeting: general meeting, extraordinary meeting, class meeting. So these are some of the classification which is being given under the companies law. So to understand the theoretical knowledge that you've already been learned in your law schools, but when you come into a practical life, you have to know about that how it has been applicable to it. If I talk about the FEMA rules that have also been mentioned, the SEBI regulations, the foreign exchange management, in that we are talking about the Indian cross-border trade that has been happening. So for the foreign loans, if you have been opting for, or if you're opting for any international trade within the India or any of an outside the India, then how these have been applicable to it. SEBI, if I talk about Security Exchange Board of India, which is applicable only to the listed companies. As you've already been aware about the stock exchanges that you talk about, right? There are various companies that has been listed. They usually have the prices going high, the prices going down. So the trading has been happening. So that trading has some type of securities into it. So to protect the investors that you are able to regulate the securities market, that's why we have a regulation of SEBI. SEBI is having different types of regulation. If I talk about the shares that we are talking about, then it is such dematerialization of the shares have been happening. The insider trading has been happening. So each and every regulations have been different depending on what case you have been opting for it. Now, if I talk about the last one, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2013, which is supposing that a company cannot repay the loans. Now, what happens in which the IBC plays a crucial role into it when the companies are unable to repay their loans. So these are something an overview that I have been explaining, because in depth I can't explain you each and every provisions, but these are something that you should always learn in your law schools, that this theoretical aspects will always help you in a practical life. Now the next slides talk about the life cycle of a company. The life cycle of a company, as you can see in the slides also, it is talking about the flow chart that has been prepared. The first is the very initial stage, the idea. The why idea, the entrepreneur is having an idea that it is and one of a business opportunity. Like for an example, if I talk about that I have to create a food delivery app. Though in market there are various food delivery apps, the Zomato is there, Swiggy is there, Zapto is there, and etc. Right? But I have to create one of a food delivery app. Now, when I am creating such type of an app, then you have to look into the what is the main unique feature. So that unique feature is known as an idea. The second is talking about the incorporation. Now, when you have to register any of a food delivery app or any of an apps that you have to deliver, right? So the incorporation that you have to register as a company under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Now, ma'am, do we require a lawyer for it? Yes, you require a lawyer for it because you will obtain a certificate of incorporation of a company establishment. So when you have to establish one of a company, like nowadays the MSME has been one of the most crucial one. Why they have been one of the most crucial one? Because they're able to incorporate that as a small enterprises as a company. So that is coming under the ambit of an incorporation. The third stage is talking about the funding. The funding, who will able to give us a capital, the money to start our particular business. The friends are there, the angel investors are there, the venture capital is there, and private equity is there. So in these all things, you are able to provide the fundings. The last one talks about the growth. As you can see in the slides also, the growth or the governance. The growth, you have to look into the contracts that you have been drafting, the hiring of an employees that you have been able to hire, the IP protections, the compliance. So these all are coming under the ambit of our growth, or if I talk about the governance part. The last, talking about the expansion. Now, when the company is established in India, now have to have a good franchisee of this particular company. Like, for an example, the McDonald's. If we go with a McDonald's talking about, then the McDonald's has also been having a chain in India, also having a chain in US also, and various other countries also. So as being an infant, or if you have been starting your particular company, then you can also have an expansion with the mergers, joint ventures,
Hello,
acquisition,
ma'am.
and international businesses. Right? The last one is exiting. That when you are able to merge your company, or you are able to acquire someone else's companies, then you have to look into that. That when at every stage of this particular life cycle of a company, a lawyer is playing a crucial role into it. Because the strategically alliance, the restructuring, if the company has to be wind up, or they have been saying that no, now the company is not able to run, and they are saying that they have to shut down this particular company, then we will be going up with a winding up. That is also two parts. The first winding up has been taken by the members of that particular company, and the second winding up has been taken by the NCLT board. That the company has been deciding that the company has become a bankrupt, so the company cannot survive more. That's why the NCLT might give you an order to shut down your particular company. So that is one of an example of it winding up. Coming up to the next slides, which is talking about the career opportunities. So the career opportunities, or if I talk about the corporate governance is also the basic thing. If we talk about the basic principles that have been governed in our company whenever we have been running, we have to look into each and every principles that have been covered in that. Now, these are the career opportunities as a corporate lawyer. This we will be discussing in brief. Why? Because this is one of the most broader than in law firms. Firstly, the career options is in merger and acquisition law. Now, ma'am, in our law school, we study in the fourth year mergers and acquisition law, right? And before that, if you want to do an internship in any of the law firms, so whether we can go and apply on it or not, yes, you can always go and apply. You can do some of the certification courses of mergers and acquisition. Though an interviewer would ask you that whether you have a knowledge or not, so you can tell them a basic that I know what is a merger, what is an acquisition, what is the difference between them. There are various types of a merger: horizontal merger, vertical merger, conglomerate merger. So these mergers and acquisition lawyers, what do they do? The first thing that they do is that whenever a company is combining, they have to review the contracts between both of the companies. That is one of the career opportunities for the mergers and acquisition lawyer. Second one, if I talk about the in-house counsel. In-house counsel means, like if I'm talking about Godrej, right? The Godrej is famous for making such type of safety locks, right? So when they are also entering into a furniture brand, so when they are entering into a furniture brand, they need a lawyer for it. That there are various consumer has been filing the complaints, so that's why they go and hire an in-house counsel. So in-house counsel you can also work in, but you cannot work as a personal lawyer. Means if you have a personal client, you cannot fight for them or you cannot argue for them, right? So that's why when you are going up with the in-house counsel, so you have to always remember that when you are going with an in-house counsel, you have to only work for that particular company. You can't work for your personal matters, or a personal arguments cannot be done. You have to give up your license, right? The third one is talking about the securities law. If you all would be aware about it, that the SEBI regulations, or the SEBI has a legal officer's exam. So while clearing that particular exam, you can become a security lawyer, you can work in any of the national stock exchange, you can work in BSCs or any of the stock exchange wherever you like so. Fourth one is talking about the IP attorney. IP attorney, why I'm talking about? Because IP is such a vast area in which you have been learning about the designs, the geographical indications, the trademark, how the positions are being filed, the copyright works, and even now there is also a dilemma of a copyright work over an artificial intelligence. So when you are talking about the IP attorney, you should always know that each and every thing that you have been talking about is coming under the ambit of an IP attorney. So these are also one of a part of an corporate lawyers. In this, you will always be looking forth with the legal consultancies, also compliance work, also risk advisory, also. These all are coming under the ambit of our IP attorneys. Banking and the finance lawyer. The banking and the finance lawyer means the one who has become an bank legal manager working in any of the banks. If I talk about in HDFC, I have to become a bank manager. I have to give one of an exam for it, and then you can become a legal officer in that particular bank. For that, you don't require such type of experiences. But what you have to do is that you have to just clear that particular exam, and you can become a legal officer, right? Sixth one is the competition lawyer and antitrust lawyer. This is one of the most emerging ones. Why it has been in one of an emerging ones? Because people are not being aware about it. If I talk about the Amazon and the Flipkart, both are being selling the same products at the same company, right? But the pricing has been different. So that is something you have to look into forth as a competition lawyer or an antitrust lawyer, that whether it is an anti-competition been happening or it has been fair in nature or not. So this is coming under the ambit if you get any chance to do an internship under the Competition Commission of India, you will be able to learn that how the case studies are being resolved, how they are being putting such type of penalties on the companies. So in that, you can become a competition lawyer for it. Now, if I talk about the private equity, now what does private equity means? When the private equity means the agencies that are being distant from the law firms and the in-house. The private equities are mostly being played with these startup companies. Why? Because they are one of an equity holder in that particular company. Like you would have also been learned about the Shark Tank lawyers, right? The Shark Tank, if you have been looking into it, there are various, like the Piyush Bansal being the CEO of a Lenskart, right? Now he is able to invest in that particular thing of that particular brand. It is one of an startup, right? So when we are talking about that this is one of a startup company and one of the company which is already been established is able to put up some type of an money in that particular company being in startup. So that is an example of a private equity lawyers. The last one is the venture capital attorney. If I am talking about the venture capital, that you are thinking about the expansion of your particular businesses, or you have to go and reside in any of the UN agencies or any of the foreign nations, then you can also go up with a venture capital attorney. So the venture capitalist or the private equity, or I should say mergers and acquisition, these all three can come under the ambit of a transaction lawyer. Why am I talking about the transaction lawyer? Because the transaction lawyer, because these all are part of a transaction lawyers, because when the transaction has been happening in crores or in lakhs, so you need a lawyer who can provide you a good guidance that yes, this amount if you have been investing, then this will have a good opportunity in the future so that there will be no loopholes to be found out. Next slide, please, which is talking about how you can start your journey. So if I am talking about whenever you have to start your journey, you have to first learn how you to master in legal drafting. So the first thing is that you can see to understand the purpose and the audience, defining that each and every document that you have to go with a thorough reading of it, that the language should never be in a typical manner. Why I am saying that it should not be in typical manner? It should be in such a manner that it makes the person more readable. A common person can also read it. You have to not use much of a legal jargons into it, right? Second is the plan structure in the outline. When you are using such type of a frameworks, or you have to organize each and every arguments that you're talking about, then you have to see that each and everything is not in the favor of only the plaintiff side or the defendant side. It should be both the parties should be party autonomy, or they should mutually decide, amicably decide that yes, these all are the terms that we have been able to use. Third is priority of clarity over the complexity. Why I am talking about prioritizing that? Because the plain language will help the consumers, because that person would not know that what the lawyer has written it, right? So that's why not use much of a legal languages, keep it very short and precise so that the person can able to understand it. Fourth one is talking about the revised relentlessly. Why I'm saying that you have to revise it, it should not be in the favor of one party. It should be in the favor of both the parties, so that whenever you are drafting such type of an agreement, you have to read aloud and you have to catch each and every errors. The last is if you are utilizing any of an AI tools, if I talk about Grammarly, so you can have a good clarity, build a template or a library for it. If you are just doing in ChatGPT that you have to draft an agreement on these all things, they might give you an idea, but you have to use that the language should be precise. So it's better that if you use a Grammarly tool, because it will help you to rewrite the each and every statements, or will help you in the paraphrasing, so that the grammatical errors will not be there and it will be in a plain text. The last one is talking about the learning from any of the documents, like each and every feedback that you have been able to receive it. So you should know that the quality that you have been producing in your particular documents and the manuals and other parties are able to give you feedback and you are able to inculcate into it. Right? Next slide, please. So, how you have to start your journey? So, where should I begin? So, firstly, you have to build a foundation first. Foundation means that you are learning in your classrooms, talking about the company law, contract law, commercial drafting. There are also some of the 2 credits or the 3 credit courses. In much of the universities, they might have a moot court as a clinical papers, right? So, in that, if you have been participating, so this is one of the foundations that you can learn into your law schools itself. Secondly, what is the second thing that you have to develop an habit? Habit of what? Habit of reading. Now, ma'am, what type of papers should we read as you have to become a corporate lawyer? So, what type of papers you can read is the Economic Times, the Business Standards, the Life Mint. These are some of the papers that you can read so that you get a good idea. The live laws are also there, bar and bench is also there. In that you can read such type of laws in which you will also able to gain that how the persons are making such type of perspective on this particular issue, right? How the critical thinking has to be analyzed into it. While the reading, you are able to analyze that particular skills. Thirdly is that you have to learn practical skills. Now, what are the practical skills? Is firstly, the drafting, the negotiation, the legal research, while attending the webinars. Even you can also publish this type of articles, like any of the judgment that has been passed, right? So in that, you can give your dissenting opinions also, whether this judgment has been a positive impact in the society or a negative impact in the society. Because no one will going to judge your particular skills. They will see that no, the person is having their own opinions, right? Whenever we are reading anything judgment, you find it out that the judge would have been not quoting this way or it should be in that way. So that is one of the skills that has been required for any of a lawyer if you're talking within corporate law perspective. Now, if I talk about networking on the LinkedIn, each and every partners or any of an associates, wherever you have to do an internship, you can go and network on LinkedIn so that the people might help you. Some of the people might not respond to your mails, but some of the people might respond to you, right? So it depends that which target audience that you have been opting for it. Participating in the moot courts or the competitions, because being as a corporate lawyer, you should always be participating in the negotiation competitions rather than a moot courts. Why I'm saying so? because the negotiation skills is one of a crucial part in the corporate lawyer. The moot courts are being in litigated options, that when you're talking about the litigations, the moot courts are talking about the arguments. But in the corporate lawyers, the arguments have been drafted in another manner, like we drafted in a negotiation competition or a negotiation plans that have been drafted in. Though you have to also give a petition draft reply accordingly, but it differs that which type of a negotiations that you have been opting for. Now, even we have also having the corporate restructuring competitions also, that when a company has been winding up, that what are the plans that you can talk about with the strategies, right? So these are also some of the competitions in which you can participate. If you don't wish to go and participate it, you can just also participate in the drafting competitions also. If I talk about any of the competitions, having an essay competitions or any of the corporate plans are to be drafted into it. So in that also you can participate, because the drafting skills has to be the prior one. Second is the auditory skills. If I talk about that, you are able to convince your client that no, I will able to resolve your particular issue, right? So these are something how you can start your particular corporate law journey. Next slide, please. Okay. So this is the flow chart as you can see on the screen, that what is the future of the law firm. This is something that in a company you can find a legal advisor also, you can have a project management also, you can have a legal products also, and you can have a managed services also. So whenever you are targeting any of an internships, the main motto should not be there that you are only getting in certificates, that you have to add it into your law schools and they will give you a credit-based score, A, B, C, or whatsoever the grade you need. So during an internship, you should always learn that why this particular clause has been written in this agreement. Why was this document being amended? So these are something that you have to look into. Apart from this, you also have to observe that what is a pattern, how they're doing in client meeting. Do they do it regularly, or do they do in 2 months only twice, or in once only? So that is something, the observation that you have to look into in code. How the negotiations have been taking place, how you are able to draft the emails, the etiquette that you have to follow while you're drafting any of your emails, how time management has been playing a crucial role. So I will always recommend you that you should never chase about any of the law firms which has been in top tier. Because when you learn from any of the boutique law firms, that will give you a more insight rather than any of the top tier firms. Because the Trilegal, SAM, Ketan, etc. might have a lot of employees working, a lot of students do the internships also, right? So in that case, if you are learning with so many lawyers and so many lawyers are giving you so many tasks to do, so it becomes very difficult for us that how we have to resolve, right? So that's why my recommendation would be that you should always target a small law firms in which there is only 4 to 5 associates or 2 to 3 associates. So in that you will be able to learn that how the corporate works or how the corporate law works. So they will able to tell you that no, you have to do the research like this, you have to search like this, you can go in this particular website and search this type of import listing can be done. So in that, the main focus on this particular intern will be more rather than if you go for any of an top tier law firms. Sometimes a smaller office will give you much better than a practical exposure. So that's why you should always go for any certificate law firms. So it's my perspective. Let's just depends upon you. So this is say one of the future of the corporate lawyer. The future opportunities has been rapidly been increasing. So when we are talking about the legal desktop for the future, you have to look that you have been a full-time lawyer, you've been a part-time lawyer, you've been a subject matter lawyer, service lawyer, or you're just and starting agencies, right? There are various organizations that they have and young professionals also. If I talk about the RBI, if I talk about the CTIL, Center for Trade and Investment Law, the Ministries of Corporate Affairs. So they also have various types of lawyers, but these are some type of a think tanks or the public policy that they have been making into it. So these are some purpose that when you are talking about the corporate lawyer, you can enter into in various law fields. Intellectual properties also, export change and technologies also, matter management, contract drafting, contract review, legal analytics, legal research. In some of the firms, you can only act as a researcher, not as a lawyer. So it depends on what area that you are able to choose into. Next slide, please. So the internships and the practical exposure that I already told you that choosing learning with the brand names in the early stage. Like if you wanted to do in a brand name that I had done an internship in the trilingual for 1 month, so it might not help you much in your CV. But if you say in a boutique law firm, I've done for a 6 months internship, that will have a boost in your CV. Why it will have a boost in your CV? Because you have been a loyal to any of one firm, and that one firm has taught you so many things that trilingual in 1 month couldn't teach you, right? So that's why that's a particular my tip. Though it's up to you that you have to take it or not. Choose learning over any of your brand names in the early stages. So when you are in your second year or in third year, when you know that no, these type of works I have been familiar about it, and then you can go and target to any of your brand names. So firstly, you have to understand the practical legal framework. Then you have to learn the drafting and the research. Then you can explore the different areas. When you are in your initial stage of a law school, for the first 3 years, you should explore each and everything. Right? Now, what is one each and everything? Firstly, you should go for an NGO, non-governmental organizations. Secondly, you can go for a district court or session courts. Thirdly, you can go up within High Court. Fourthly, you can go up within Supreme Court because in 1 year you get in 2 times of internships, right? Fifthly, you can go up and work in any different law firms, right? Sixthly, you think that no, the corporate law is also emerging one, so I should go and do an internship in the IP firms also. So in that also you can do it into the after your third year, you have to decide that which area was the best. That you are liking the work of a ministry, you are liking the work of in corporate law, or you are liking the work of in district court, you're liking the work of in Supreme Court. Then after your third year, you can plan your internships in such a manner that you can go and apply in various Supreme Court CORs lawyers because you are thinking no, the litigation would be the best one for me, right? So for the next 2 years, you have to only target in that particular field. Because starting 3 years, you have explored each and everything, and then you have realized no, this area I can excel into it, and then you can go for this particular practical exposures. So this is something that your CV will also tell that yes, this person has explored each and everything, and then later on after the 3 years, they're able to decide that yes, this is a particular field in which I have to excel into it. So doing it 1 month or a 2 month internships or doing an online internships will not be benefit to boost your CV. So to boost your CV, it should show a 6 months internship. So in that, a person can ask you various questions that within 6 months, what you have learned in research, what you have learned in drafting, so you will able to answer it. And it shows that you have been loyal to one of the firms also, right? So that is one of the examples for the internships and the practical exposures. In these ways, you can go and explore it. Next slide, please. So now we're talking about the future of the corporate law. The future of the corporate law has been changing rapidly. If I talk about the AI governance, the AI regulation, the technology contracts that have been happening. So being a contract master, you have to always remember that this is one of a life-changing era. Why it has been life-changing era? Because the contracts that have been drafted with the same clauses, but it differs with the company's perspective and the different mindsets that we have been looking into it. So these are one of the growing areas. Technology and the AI regulation, ESG and sustainability, environmental reporting have been there, corporate sustainability is there. If I talk about the data protection and the cross-border transactions that have also been happening, the international contracts, the foreign investment, the international arbitrations. So these are something a future of a corporate lawyer. The data protection and the privacy, when we have been following the EU GDPR laws, then we also have an DPDP Act, then how these are being prevented and how these ecosystems can help us to understand that this is one of a competitive advantage for us doing for the future of a corporate lawyer. Next slide, please. Yes. So coming up with a conclusion that the corporate law is no longer just an optional career, but it is one of a dynamic and globally connected legal field. When we are talking with the international perspective, we also need a corporate lawyer. When we are talking about the national perspective, you also need a lawyer. So success does not only depends upon the grades that you are getting in your classroom learning. So it depends upon your consistencies, the curiosity that you have, the practical learning that you are getting, the networking, the communication skills. So these are the basic criteria that if these criteria are fulfilled, then you can become a good corporate lawyer. So starting today, that you can read one of a business news daily. This can be one of a habit. Improve one draft every week so that you can have a good draft at the end of it. Completing a meaningful internships, as I already talked about, that the internships should not be about that you're collecting a certificate. It should about that you're able to learn into it. And your corporate lawyer career will build through consistently with the small efforts that you are able to gain out of it. Right? So thank you everyone for your participation. Now I would be happy to answer your questions if you have any.
Anybody if have any question, just unmute your mic and ask.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
How can we search for corporate internship online or offline?
Yeah, the first website that you can go up with the law purpose, in which various legal internships have been offered into it. Secondly, you can also go with the law of, or if you can also go with the networking in the LinkedIn's. There are various law firms, you can follow them. They might have such type of an internships been posting on their LinkedIn profiles also, and you can apply accordingly.
Thank you, ma'am.
Palak is having a question that being a second year student, what should I focus right now? As there is no corporate subjects as such, also have to decide that which field of corporate to choose. See, firstly, when I talked about the internship and the exposure, so right now when you are in your second year, you should explore each and every field. I should say that you should go in the litigation also, you should go in the corporate also, you should go in think tanks also, you should go in an NGO also. And then you can decide it that which type of an internships makes you the best lawyer or makes you in good interest over that particular subject. Then accordingly, you can go and choose that particular thing. The corporate lawyer, being a corporate lawyer for the first initial 3 years, you might not study such type of subjects, right? So when you are not able to study that type of subjects, but you are doing an internship, so it might become difficult for you. So that's why if you have to learn that no, I have only interest in the IP laws, then you can go and do such certification courses from the WIPO. There are various free online courses being offered by the UN. You can go and register into it and you can learn about it rather than waiting that the law schools will be teaching you after the 3 years, right? So these strategies, if you go and offer it, then you can go and gain such type of an internship for it.
Hello,
What are
ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, what practical skills should every law student focus on to succeed in corporate law?
Okay. The first skill is the research skill because that is required in a litigation as well as a corporate lawyer. Second is the communication skills, that how we are able to convince your particular clients, right? Third is the drafting skills, because when you are been drafting in a petition, you should know that how you have to give a reply on that petitions, right? Fourth is the searching engines. You should know how to use the Manupatra. Now the Manupatra is also having an AI version into it. Then you should know how simultaneously I can use into it. How effective that research can be, rather than quoting any of in false case laws, right? So if these four skills you have, you can succeed as a good lawyer. Though law is all about the common sense, if you use that common sense in a very efficient manner, then you can go and excel in any different field, whether you are going in a litigation field or whether you're going in a corporate field.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I just want to ask that as a third year law student, which subject should I focus most to build a career in corporate law?
You are in which year?
Ma'am, in third year.
Okay, so any corporate law subjects have you studied about?
Ma'am, right now we are having like IPL, we are having PIL, we are having, and Indian Contract Act. Companies Act is not yet come, but Indian Contract Act is there. Criminal law, company law is not there. But so, which subject should I focus on?
Okay. So you have an interest over in corporate law subjects only, or you are just
Yes, ma'am.
trying to explore that particular field?
No, no, ma'am. I want to build my career in corporate field only. So that's why.
Okay. Then you should firstly go within boutique law firms, which have been focusing on the corporate transactions if I talk about. The first one you can go and apply in CCI, Competition Commission of India. If you are in private, if you are studying in a private institution, then they might take you, because I was also studying in private institution, the CCI took me, right? So in that you will able to learn that how the corporate law works. Secondly, if you think any of your boutique law firms that has been specialized with the corporate transactions, mergers and acquisitions, they don't have much of the associates been in their firms. In that, you can go and target it. Thirdly, you can also go and target with any offense centers. Like if I talk about the Minister of Corporate Affairs, they also give you a stipend also. So be any of a law student, being from a non-agree or a
धीरे 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 बेबी स्लो डाउन condom now condom oh
okay. So in that manner, you can go and search it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, I have a question. Can I ask?
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm doing BA LLB, and I thought that many of the law firm corporate companies prefer BCom LLB or BA LLB over the BA. So, can I do like a get into corporate while I'm doing BA with
No, it's
LLB?
not like that. If you've done a BLLB, if you've done a BBLLB, or if you've done BCom LLB, that doesn't make any of a distinction. It just depends upon your interest. Like I have an interest in studying a sociology, that's why I opted for BLLB. I have a study of a strategy or the management skills, that's why I opted for an BBLLB. So corporate law firms will never focus upon that you've done in BLLB, BCom LLB, or in BBLLB. They will only focus upon your CV, that how good are you in drafting skills. If you're good in your drafting skills, then you are able to succeed in that particular law firm. You can never get a rejection on the basis of your BLLB, BCom LLB, or BBLLB.
Ma'am, one more question. That if I'm studying in like private institution that is in tier 3, so how can I approach corporate firms or companies like in that is in city?
Yes. So in a tier 3 city, when you have been searching, though you are on Google, you can go and search every of law firm. You can call them. You can ask them the HR details, the email addresses that you can get, or if you have in time, you can go and visit their particular office. You can go and meet the partners or an associate. So then you can go and approach for any of your internships. That is the best manner.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Ma'am, NLU, how much NLU letter is
Excuse me, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Hello,
Yes, you are audible.
ma'am. Myself Prakshal Jain, and ma'am, I'm currently doing a company secretary course. Ma'am, my question is, ma'am, ma'am, I am not able to go get expertise in company corporate law. Ma'am, how do I get expertise in it?
See, if you want to have an expertise, so you are pursuing your company secretary course. Though I have also completed my executive course, but I didn't appear for my professional courses because I have to give up my license of an advocacy, right? So both the things I can practice it. But if you have an interest within compliance work or in due diligence work, then you have to look into it. Then how you can be focused into it. So having a dual degree will be an advantage for you because a company who is looking for any of compliance work will also think that no, he can also act in the capacity of a legal advisor also, right? So if you are
Right.
doing a dual course, then it will be a good advantage for you, no doubt about it.
Ma'am, one more question. Ma'am, I was, ma'am, getting stuck in drafting in company law. So, ma'am, is there any channel, ma'am, which can teach me a drafting, ma'am? Like, because
Yeah,
ma'am,
from 15th of July, I will only be teaching you the drafting course. If you want to enroll in that particular course, you will be able to learn that how the drafting has to take place.
ma'am, in this boot camp.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, I enrolled, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
sorry, ma'am, there's one more question. There is a
Yes.
famous belief that companies only prefer NLU students. So, is there any chance of us getting selected in internships?
Yes. I have also done a various internships in the top tier firms. I am also from a private institution. So it depends that how you are drafting your particular CV. The CV should be most powerful one. Like if I'm talking about that I have to go in an IP firm, right? So the CV should only show that I've done work only related to the IP. Then the company will hire you. But if you tell them, no, I have done an internship in the district court also, I've done an internship in the Supreme Court also. So these type of things will degrade your skills and they will not like to appoint you as an intern also. So that's why whenever you are targeting any of in corporate law firms, you should always study about that firm, that firm has been focused on which type of laws. And that type of laws, whatever you have done, the courses, workshops, the moot courts, whatever you have done, that you can mention. You don't have to mention each and everything that every in my 3 years I have done these all things. They are not been interested because the firm has been focused on that particular specific area. So that specific area, if your CV has been disclosed, each and everything, then yes, they will surely appoint you as an intern.
Can we write articles about the field they are working in, the company?
Sorry, could you please repeat?
Can we write article about the
Yes,
specific niche they are the corporate
yes.
like company work?
You can publish blogs, you can publish research papers, you can publish research articles. So that shows that you have done a good research as well as a good drafting and publish in a reputed and in news journals because that is something a good authentic one rather than if you go within peer reviewed the paid publications they might not give you a chance for it. So that's why whenever you have been opting for any of the thing, so you should always focus on these things. The bar and bench articles you can publish, live law blogs you can publish, so that the people from an industry read there.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
So, ma'am, I had a question. Ma'am, in corporate law, how can a law student understand the commercial and the business side of a transaction instead of only reading the legal provisions?
See, to understand the commercial of the business transaction, you have to learn that what is as being a lawyer, often commercial